So right now I'm going to make our pie crust mix. It's excellent for sweet pies. So today I'm going to do a blueberry fruit pie. You can also use it equally well with savory, so quiche, chicken pot pie, roasted veggie tart. A lot of those recipes are on our website. So what I generally do is I put the bag out, I put 1/4 cup water and 3/4 cup oil. It's really critical that you not forget that water. Water helps to bind the starches in the flour, so if you don't add it and your crust is really, really oily, go back and review that you added the water. Most often, if the crust seems really, really oily, it's because you did not add the 1/4 cup of water. So the apple cider vinegar is just a 1/2 teaspoon. And you just put those two, the wet ingredients in the bottom, and you add the flour and stir this up. One package will make 2 9-inch crusts. So I'd like a top on my blueberry pie, so we're gonna press in the bottom, press in half in the bottom and roll out the other half as a top. Now as you mix this up, it will become more solid. Like it starts out really kind of wet and then it gets more solid, kind of almost a crumbly cornmeal texture. So I am going to take our 9-inch pie plate and I'm going to just press in half the crust. So I just go around and try to, like I said, evenly get it placed around the pan. And I don't worry at this stage about even the scalloping or finishing off of the crust on the top. I do that with the top crust. And basically, if you just pull enough out to do this, what will remain will be enough for the top crust. So it's not like you have to be concerned with dividing it up equally before you get started. Okay, we're just about there. And what I do is I just pop this in the refrigerator, and it helps it to kind of set up a little bit while I prepare the filling and the top crust. Now that we're ready to roll out the top crust, you want to have a cutting board that will fit in your freezer. I especially like this one. It's got these grippers so it prevents it from sliding. The first thing you want to do is get a piece of wax paper, make it pretty long because you're going to tuck the sides of it, the ends of it, underneath the cutting board. Okay, you're going to take the dough, create like a little mound, and put it in the center. And take another really long piece of wax paper, and I just kind of press it down and then stick this underneath. And now you're ready to roll. And I tend to try to just like when I was pressing in the bottom crust, try to get, doesn't have to be pretty at this stage, it just has to be even. Now I'm gonna stick it in the freezer, and you wanna leave it in the freezer for 20 to 30 minutes. And you don't want it to be frozen, but almost sort of chilled and a little bit stiff. If you were to try to work with this dough at room temperature, it would just fall apart. So once it's chilled, it stiffens and it's really easy to handle. So now we're gonna put together our blueberry pie filling. And I've got 5 to 6 cups of blueberries here. I've washed them and taken off the little stems at the end. And I'm gonna add about 1/2 cup of maple syrup. Now you can use any sweetener you like. I just like maple syrup or honey. And I I like to add a little cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. Just sprinkle this on. And then as a thickener, I like our yeast-free bread. I've got about 3 tablespoons here. You can use, if you don't have that, you can use arrowroot, cornstarch, tapioca. I just sprinkle that over. And I also use the half of a juice of a lemon. Okay, so I'm going to toss all this together. Pour this in. Okay, so now you're going to take the top piece of wax paper off. Yeah. Take off, separate the bottom piece, and you're just going to take it like this, flip it over, and then gently take this. So now what I do is I go around and I got it so that it's little, usually I get it on so it's more even, but I'm going to take a little bit from this side and I'm going to know that I need to kind of fill in on this side of it and just trim off this excess. And I'll use this to do my scalloping around the edges. And I just gently turn it. And the dough is cold, but the heat of your hands will soften it, make it easy to work with. If by chance it got a little frozen. This did not, but I have had that happen. So I just turn this down. Okay, so I've got a pretty even amount around the edges. And so what I'm going to do now is just scallop these sides. And I often will take a little knife and cut a hole, or excuse me, make like an X. But we've got a little opening here so the air is going to be able to escape. So I'm just now going to go ahead. And all I did was take an egg yolk, add about a teaspoon of water, and whip that up. And I have one of these silicone brushes that are really nice. They can go in the dishwasher. And I just coat this. And by doing this, the crust will get a really pretty shiny glaze on it. All right, so I bake this at 350 for an hour, and you may need to go a little longer. You want the filling to be bubbling. About half an hour into the baking, I put this pie ring on. They're really great. This is our pie. We're gonna wait about an hour to cut it, cool it on a cooling rack, and then indulge. All right, our pie has cooled and it's now ready to serve, and I think everyone's gonna be thrilled at how delicious this is.